Time for business. Kate Moody's here. The Suez Canal remains blocked by a grounded ship. Kate.
And the effects are being felt around the world, Mark. The MV Ever Given is one of the biggest container ships in the globe. It ran aground in the Suez Canal early on Tuesday morning after strong winds and a dust storm blew it off course. Now, these satellite images here show just how the position of this huge ship is blocking other boats from passing through. Vessels are being held up on both sides of the canal as tugboats work to free it. The Suez Canal is a hugely strategic waterway which drastically cuts travel time between Europe and Asia. Otherwise, ships have to sail around South Africa. More than 10% of global trade does pass through it every year. It's about $1 trillion worth. Even once the passage is cleared, analysts say the traffic could be disrupted for days. Take a listen.
About 18,000 ships use it a year. It's about 50 ships a day, so it's absolutely key. So you get something like this, a ship effectively blocking it, you actually really are blocking that trade flow. It shows you how fragile the global supply chains can be at times. And as we rely on shipping to deliver all that medical equipment, the fuel, the food, the other supplies, this is quite a critical moment.
Well, that blockage has sparked concerns about shipments of crude oil, and oil prices jumped over 5%. The international benchmark Brent crude settling at $64.41 per barrel. A choppy session on Wall Street saw the Dow Jones and S&P 500 give up some of their earlier gains to close lower. The tech-heavy Nasdaq losing just over 2% at the close. Those higher oil prices did give a boost to energy stocks. Shares of Intel, meanwhile, dropped 2% after announcing plans to build 2 new chip factories. Earlier, we saw a mixed, fairly muted close for the major European indices, despite new data showing an unexpected jump in business activity in the Eurozone for the month of March. Google has announced licensing deals with some of Italy's biggest media groups to publish their content. RCS, Il Sole 24 Ore, and City News are among those whose reporting will now appear in Google's News Showcase program when it launches in Italy in the coming weeks. Google negotiated similar deals with publishers in France and Australia earlier this year as tech companies come under growing pressure to pay for journalism that's featured on their platforms. Public transport networks across the globe have seen ridership and revenues plunge during the pandemic. In London, the city's underground is still operating at just a quarter of its pre-pandemic levels, and government aid is due to run out soon. Claire Rush tells us more.
Before the UK's first lockdown in March of last year, about 5 million journeys were taken on the tube every day. But now, London's underground only carries about a quarter of the passengers it did before the pandemic.
The passenger numbers are down a lot. It's a lot more quiet.
Joseph Cox is a driver on the Circle line.
At the first lockdown, counting the number of people who got on the train on one hand at some points. Numbers are slowly picking up now. People are travelling, but still it's nothing like it was. The norm was back then.
The drop in ridership has meant a drop in revenue. Transport for London, or TfL, relies heavily on passenger fares, from which it derives more than 70% of its total income. A bleak financial forecast that isn't expected to improve anytime soon. According to a December report commissioned by TfL, demand could fall by as much as 20%, even after the pandemic is over, as more and more people work from home.
The issue for us with ridership is that people won't, I doubt very much, would commute 5 days a week. Some people will, but there'll be a lot of people now that do it in a hybrid way, which on one side will help from a congestion point of view, but the other side won't help from a revenue point of view.
So far, the British government has given TfL some 4.6 billion euros in grants and loans to keep it running. But the support package is set to expire in May.
Economists and businesses alike say that vaccines could hold the key to putting the pandemic behind us, and one food chain in the U.S. is trying to sweeten the deal even further. Krispy Kreme will give a free donut to any customer showing their vaccine card, and that's an offer that's valid every day for the rest of the year. It's a theoretical $450 worth of sweet treats from now on. The brand saying it wants to do its part to help get life back to normal. There is also a caveat for those who are unwilling or unable to get vaccinated. They can apparently show up to the store on Mondays through the month of May to explain their decision and get a free coffee and donut anyway. Obviously, this is a purely commercial stunt here, Mark, and it's worth saying that a lot of people are pointing out that there is a link between obesity and severe COVID symptoms. So something to be aware of, even if you're going to take advantage of this.
Indeed, but to be frivolous, free coffee and a donut, I'm there. No problem at all. Kate, thank you very much indeed. Kate Moody with All the Business. Great to see you.